I will always love Sam Raimi for directing the original Spider-Man trilogy. Like plenty of people my age, I assume, those films were an integral part of my childhood. But I only became familiar with his work on the Evil Dead franchise over the past few years. And while this may sound controversial to many horror fans, I have to admit that I don't exactly care for those films. I respect them. I can see how they've had an impact on the horror genre as a whole, but they just don't resonate with me personally. Still, I am a fan of Raimi's unique directorial style. I even like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness more than most people do. So, I was mildly interested in seeing this movie, especially since it marked Raimi's first return to horror since 2010. So what did I think of Raimi's first R-rated feature since 1999? Well, it may not be his most effective horror film, but it still acts as a fun and entertaining feature nevertheless. One where Rachel McAdams gets to shine as a wild and crazy character. Here, McAdams stars as a corporate strategist named Linda Little, who becomes one of only two survivors of a deadly plane crash. Stranded on a deserted island with the newly appointed CEO of the company, Linda must overcome her past grievances with him in order to survive. Unfortunately for her, her boss is a dick, and his behavior doesn't change just because he is stranded on an island with her. So, in order to make it off of the island alive, Linda must engage in a battle of wits and wills. So this is a story about how rich, entitled corporate assholes get their comeuppance, and that does make for an enjoyable little film. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, but I thought it was entertaining. I personally enjoyed Rachel McAdams' weird and unhinged performance, though I do think it was hard to buy her as this kind of weird, off-putting, and disgusting character when she's Rachel McAdams. Like, I can only suspend so much disbelief after all. That being said, it looked like she was having fun in the role, and as a result, I was having fun watching her in said role. My biggest issue with it is that the movie tries a little too hard, in my opinion, to portray Linda as a genuinely crazy person. Because while I was rooting for her character to get some sort of revenge on her boss, by the time we get to the third act of the film, she basically comes across as the movie's main villain. And I wasn't exactly sure how to feel about her anymore once we got to that point. Which is a shame because I was rooting for Linda up until that point. So I think the ending did push Linda's character a little too far in that direction, which in turn did wane on my overall experience with the film. Still, this is a delightful movie that features some entertaining performances. Dylan O'Brien is fun as the corporate CEO, for example, but McAdams is clearly the star of the show here. Aside from Raimi's signature directorial style, of course. My favorite moments in the film include really tight close-up shots of things that were just really strange or gross. There's a moment where Linda is eating a tuna fish sandwich, for example, and the camera is just locked in on a really tight close-up shot of Rachel McAdams' mouth with the tuna just like dangling off of the edge of her mouth, which is just really hard to look at, but still really fun. And there's another moment where Linda is trying to perform CPR on her boss, but she's throwing up into his mouth, and the vomit is just a really bright, gross-looking color, and the texture of it seems really viscous, and it's really gross, but it's a lot of fun, and that's all thanks to Sam Raimi's signature cinematography and directorial style. Moments like that really did help in making the movie for me. That being said, I don't think the film will go on to become a cult classic like The Evil Dead or anything, but I am glad that Raimi has returned to his horror roots. I'm sure plenty of Raimi fans, or fans of the horror genre in general, will be happy with this movie. So even though I may have some personal issues with it, Send Help would still get a mild recommendation from me. But be sure to let me know what you thought of the film, and as always, thanks for watching.